Okay, good morning. So last class what we finished off? Role of civil citizen. In that what we finished off? Unique characters? Unique characters. Okay. So online candidates. Okay, any clarification until now? Right now we go for challenges. Next one is challenges. The same role of civil services, challenges. The very basic question is how civil service can be a biggest challenge to our system. Yeah. And offline candidates, you have space, you can set it here also. Come. Okay, please. Board Marakima. Okay, you can spread and split. Set. That's advisable one. Okay. Okay, okay. Just come on. Set. What is corona number? Any idea in India? Yesterday, what is the corona numbers? Any idea? It's around 90,000 and more. 90,000 and Maharashtra has the highest one. Tamil Nadu 4,000. Maharashtra is around 40,000 or something. 40 to 45,000. So until elections are over, they'll not say anything here. Okay. Another 2 days, then they'll begin to give the numbers. So my question is, right now we take civil services. So what are challenges here? Why civil service in a system can also result in failure? Simple or a very basic question is, once you get into civil services, how you are the biggest threat to the system? Though you say that you work for the people, but you will be the biggest threat to the people. Can you say how? So one is red tapeism. So first point is red tapeism. So red tapeism is the biggest problem in civil services. As a civil servant, you quote a lot about rules and regulations, though you say that you need to work for the people, correct? To understand this red tapeism, another thing is, please check in your Google what is zero FIR means. Check that in your Google, zero FIR. And where it is related, this you can use it as a point in your mains answer writing also. Zero FIR. So inefficiency is there, correct? So red tapeism. So can you identify what is this zero FIR and where it is related to it? And is related to so what are the crux of the zero FIR? So what are the crux of zero FIR is, especially if crime against women, jurisdiction should not be a reason for filing an FIR, correct? So you can file an FIR in any police station. I think it's in Telangana somewhere. You know this Hyderabad rape issue? A doctor was being raped and all. I think 1 year before. After that, they created a zero FIR. Okay, you can use it as a point for internal security also. Just note it down. So just to avoid red tapeism. Okay. The next thing is corruption. So corruption is another biggest problem in public services. Okay, that's correct. Okay. So one is corruption. The next thing is, so what are other problems in civil services? One is corruption will be very high, red tapeism will be there. What are other problems in civil services apart from this? Or what you hate about government departments? You say that they are corrupt, they are inefficient and all those things. Red tapeism results in inefficiency. Then what are other problems in civil services? tedious process. Okay, that you relate to the red tapeism. Apart from this, misuse of discretionary power. Okay, misuse of discretionary power. So what is this discretionary power means? As a civil servant, there are certain decisions you can take without anyone's influences. Sometimes that will be misused. Misuse of discretionary power, that is one. Apart from this, civil servants are power mongers. MONGERS. What does power mongers means? Though we say we work for the people, but reality we always love power, correct? Is that we accept it? Right now you aspire for civil services, correct? You say that why you want to be a civil servant, you give an answer that I want to serve the nation, all these things, correct? But in basis of it, you always love power. How we can see that, how we love power is which service we want. So in UPSC there are 20 different services, correct? Which service we want? Top service, what service we want? Yes, correct. Why we never love postal service? Postal service with the people only, correct? Why we never love postal services? Because we clearly know that in postal service there is nothing, right? You get a government salary, beyond that there is no power. Even in IAS, which department you want to work? Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Home Affairs, Ministry of Women and Child Development. Which department you want to work? Ministry of Home Affairs. Why we love Ministry of Home Affairs? Again, power, correct? And please understand, civil servant always love power, but they say that they want to work for the people. Or another way of saying this is strong politician, weak politician. Whom you like? Assume you are an IAS officer. Strong politician, weak politician. Whom you always like is weak politician. Why you love weak politician? Because you know that then you will be the deciding authority there, correct? That's a real factor, correct? So there are certain states wherever we have a political instability, civil servants always loves that political instability, correct? So what happens if there is a political instability means literally civil servants will be more enjoying the power where politicians will not be there, correct? Can you say right now in which states there is the political instability? There are a few states there is always some political instability. Government is not, they doesn't know whether they will survive or not. Infighting will be there. So I don't know how many of you read recent news article, Karnataka, some ministers are not happy with the chief minister. So all you always love that. So what the basic point is, though you are a civil servant, you always love to be in power. Okay. Public servant, officer. Which word you love? Officer, correct? Okay, no one should call you servant because you get irritated, correct? But you say that you work for the people. So that's a human psyche, please understand. Now the biggest problem in civil service is always power mongers. Can you understand the point? Okay. Another trend also you can see that why people in civil services, if their son, if their father and mother is in civil services, they want to make sure that daughter-in-law or son-in-law is also in civil services, or their daughter or son need to be in civil services. Can you say why? Why this happens? Once you get into service also you have that mindset. You want to make sure that your son get into civil service or daughter. If they are not, make sure that son-in-law or daughter-in-law in civil services. Why you want it? Why you want it? Not only prestige, it's not about prestige. Prestige is there. Apart from prestige, what will be the other reason is why you want it? Okay, that's basic thing is even after retirement, you want to enjoy the power. Not the real power, but you can see that, for example, your son is in civil services, daughter in civil services, correct? Or son-in-law, daughter-in-law in civil services. You have a space for enjoying the power, correct? You call up them and say that please do these things, correct? So this always happens there. So what's the basic point is civil servants always love power. Okay, power mongers, that is another most important thing is. Next thing is another biggest problem in civil services budget maximizing attitude. Civil servants always has this problem, budget maximizing attitude. So they always try to show their importance by gaining lot of financial allocations. Though they work or not, that's not a different issue. They always, every year in budget, they demand more money, correct? So a better way of saying this is just check this in Google and Lokpal's rent. So just check this in Google. Lokpal's rent, Ashoka hotel or something. So can I identify what was the rent paid by Lokpal per month? $50 lakhs per month, correct? What Lokpal has done to India? What Lokpal has done to India? Nothing, correct? But what the expenditure as a rent per month is 50 lakhs, correct? So if you are a Lokpal, what you always try to do is, I am an important office, correct? Give me the money. Okay, I'll run my office only in 5-star hotel. So that was the thing done there, correct? And that Lokpal also fighting for a car. Okay, to my level, you should not give this car, give this car. So this is what happens in civil service also. Okay, these are very practical things. Once you go into that service, you get a better understanding. Okay, so these are some of the challenges. So keep that in mind. This you can use it in your answer writing also. Okay, what are problems of civil services? The next one is civil service in modern day era. Civil service in modern day era. So when you say modern day era means that is technology, globalization and development. So you need to relate these terms. Modern day era means technology, globalization and development. So in this environment, what civil service is doing? Okay. First one is facilitator role. First one is facilitator role. So what is facilitator role means? They create the environment for development, but they will not be the major player. Understanding that before 1991, what government was doing is, government was a major player in development process. They were doing everything. Right now, what government is trying to do is, government is creating environment, creating policies and all these things, and they say, private players, please focus on development. Can you understand the point? So that's called facilitation role. Okay, right now, they are not doer. They are just giving the environment for development. So there will be NGOs, there will be corporates all working for the development process. So that's facilitation role. That's a modern role of civil services. Second is competitive role. Next thing is competitive role. So what this competitive role is, can anyone say what is the importance of SBA and BSNL to the system? Why we need to have an SBA or BSNL? If there is no such government institution, what will happen? Rural will be affected. Then apart from this, what may be the primary aspects? If you allow market to be determined by private players, there is no government player involved in it. Please, why we have a government players? Because they have a competitive role. What advantage in that? High cost, any other thing, very practical aspects. Private will be always profit oriented, but why we have an SBA or BSNL means there are some negative aspects of a market. What the negative aspect is? That is to avoid monopoly and cartel formation. So there's a term called monopoly. So can anyone say what is monopoly? In competition, what is monopoly means? Any idea? Having control over a particular, you can take many intelligent guess. What is monopoly according to you? It's a worst form. Monopoly and cartel are worst. Single player dominating the market, correct? Any examples in our current life? Reliance is one monopoly, okay then. So for example, if you take Amazon, Amazon is emerging as a monopoly, correct? Is that we accepted? So we say no, but reality think anything you want to purchase, what is the first thing we always think of as Amazon, correct? And other things in our life are driven by Amazon, correct? Reading books and all those, they are emerging. A good example of monopoly is you can go for Microsoft. Microsoft is a good example of a monopoly, correct? If you take operating system, you always use Microsoft. What is cartel formation is 3 or 4 players determining the market. That's called cartel formation. And good example for cartel formation is right now in the world level is OPEC is a good example of cartel formation. Oil and petroleum exporting countries, a good example of cartel formation. And please understand, the price of the oil or crude oil in the world is not determined based on economic parameters. What does economic parameters means? Based on demand and supply. It's not determined based on demand and supply. A lot of political factors comes into picture, correct? To understand that Saudi Arabia-Iran relationship, good or bad? Saudi Arabia relationship with Iran, good or bad? Always bad, correct? And who's the major oil supplier for the world? Saudi, correct? And what are the major source of income for Iran? Oil, correct? If Saudi want to contain Iran, so what Saudi Arabia will do? Very logical one. What will Saudi Arabia will do? Reducing oil prices. How they reduce oil prices? Increasing the production, correct? And what about India and oil? 90% of Indian oil is being imported, correct? And that has a huge impact on economy. But we can see that it's a political factor between Saudi Arabia, Iran. This is one example. Similarly, a lot of other factors are there. Russia is a major player, where US is another one. So cartel formation, good example is OPEC, oil and petroleum exporting countries. Okay. So civil service play a major role in modern day economy as a competitor. That's one. Third one is to integrate with global order. So civil service play a major role in integrating with global order. Example is WTO, Paris deal. So these are a few examples. So WTO, Paris deal. And can you say which service play a major role in this? Which service play a major role in integrating with global orders? Especially foreign service play a major role, correct? And is that, in foreign service, what you're going to do is, what you're going to do, if you are in police service, you're going to maintain law and order, arrest people, all those things, correct? If you are an IAS, you're going to implement the schemes, Swachh Bharat, all those things. Foreign service, what you're going to do? Huh? So representing India is okay, that's there. Representing India is okay. What 24/7 you're going to do, correct? Representing India is, that's correct. 24/7 what you're going to do. If you are in police service, you can say that, okay, I'll arrest people. Administrative service, I'll monitor the programs and all those stuffs, correct? Or giving ration card, very basic one. But in foreign service, what do you do? Representing India is okay. In representing India, what you're going to do? 24/7, for what government is paying you the money? Huh? Coordination with the country, then any other thing? Huh? Analyze their governance and try to implement it. Okay, then any other factors you are understanding what foreign service people are doing? Improve trade between two countries. Okay, improving relationship, correct? Negotiation. Please understand, on day-to-day affairs, what you're going to do in foreign services, you're going to fight for English terms. That's it. What does fight for English terms means? Right now, when India is signing an agreement with the other country, so what you're going to do is you fight for terms like and, or. Can you understand the point? Assume that India and US is signing an agreement for solar energy. The agreement says that US is responsible to provide technology and financial resources. That is what India says. But US says US is responsible for providing technology or resources, financial resources. What is the difference in these two terms? What is the difference in these two terms? Technology and financial resources. Technology or financial resources. What are the difference in these two terms? Okay, first one is both should be given. Second one is anyone, correct? And what you fight for is, if you are an Indian diplomat, what do you find? And or. And, correct? You will go and say to a US diplomat, please understand, in that agreement put and. He said, no, 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 it's or. And what our friend said is, this is what we are doing in foreign services. We wrote the examination, right now we are fighting for and or. Okay, entire day the fight goes. Okay, suddenly they say that we go for a lunch break. Okay, after that we'll come and discuss all these events. Even after that, you will say and, others, for a US diplomat will say, so no, no, or. Once it's not able to resolve, finally who comes into picture is? The minister comes into picture. And what minister will do is again fight for and or. Okay. So what you need to understand in foreign services, you are going to fight for very simple English terms. Not very simple, from ours it seems to be simple, but the reality it changed the fate of the country. Okay. So to integrate with global order, that's third one. Fourth one is to protect weaker sections. To protect weaker sections in the society. For example, in India we can put as BPL or women, children, all are coming under this category. So these are some of the modern roles of civil services. Okay. Facilitator, competitor, integrate with global order to protect weaker section, and also you can put to enforce ethics. To enforce ethics in the market. To enforce ethics in the market. So these are the roles of civil services. Okay. So right now we go for the next topic. So next topic is ethical governance. So next topic is ethical governance. I think ethics topic is over for you, correct? Ethics, entire class is over. Case studies and everything is over, correct? So can you say what does ethics means? Okay, what does ethics means? உடனே close note la எழுத ஆரம்பிச்சிரும், correct? So one is values. Okay, apart from values, what mean the other ones are? Values and morals one upholds. You can give your interpretation. Values and morals. Then apart from this, what according to you is ethics? Any other thing you relate with ethics, the term ethics? Why I'm asking is, sometimes we have a notion that ethics means very microscopic view. So I don't know what is ethics means. Ethics means socially accepted principles. Socially accepted principles based on which one's action. Socially accepted principles based on which one's action is evaluated. One's action is evaluated as good or bad. Evaluated as good or bad. And most of the time we have an opinion that ethics means moral values. And please keep in mind, it doesn't mean that every time the moral values will contribute for ethics. There are certain situations where moral values can also be against ethics. A good example for that thing is, mythological character Harishchandra. Mythological character Harishchandra. What he stands for? Speaks truth, correct? Assume that Harishchandra is practicing law in India. Okay. As a lawyer, what do you want to do? What the law profession says. What the law profession says. So law profession says that you need to protect your client. So what is the extreme you can do for it? What The extreme you can do for it when you want to protect your client means even you can like, right? So moral values sometimes can be against your professional ethics. Or another way of saying this is, which is the best service to use? Any idea? Which is the best services right now? We are writing for civil service. What are the best services for us? Society expectation is IAS, correct? And please understand what are the best services is? The services which matches with your character. That is the best service. Can you understand the point? And that is a mismatch. You can see what will happen. A good way of understanding is if you want to be in foreign service, what should be your character? Personal character. Apart from they'll train you or do all this stuff, what should be a personal character is apart from this? Huh? Please understand one important character for foreign services, you should be an extrovert character. What is extrovert character means? So you are ready to mingle with others, understanding others' culture, correct? You don't have any inhibitions or prejudice. So you never, simple way of saying is you never judge people. You should have that character. Assume that an introvert getting into foreign service, what will happen to him? Introvert, never mingle with others, loves mother's food, correct? And any other food he never like it. Assume that he's being posted in Spain, posted in Japan, correct? Ultimately what happens, correct? What about Japanese food, any idea? What about Japanese food? Seafood is everywhere, but what about the unique aspect of Japanese food? Only chopsticks. Apart from this, it will be raw meat. Is that you know? Japanese always have raw meat. They'll have it and you need to have the food, correct? So if you are a person without open mindedness, you can't survive in foreign services, correct? Similarly, in police service, what should be a characteristic? Boldness should be there in any services. What should be the character in police services? Huh? Corruption everywhere is there, correct? So, for example, if you are in police services, you should have the character whenever time permits, whenever there's a need, you need to use your hands and legs. Use your limbs. You should not think that, okay, if there is any situation, nothing can't be done. Ultimately, what you want to do is use your physical force. You should have that mindset. If you don't have that, getting into police service is like a suicide for you. Can you go and speak to a criminal very diplomatically? Please understand you are Indian citizen, correct? Or you are behaving like this. I got a job, I want to do it. Okay, don't behave like this. Whether he'll listen to you? Literally no. So ultimately what you want to do is, after a point of time, use your hands and legs, get the work done. Okay. So that should be the personal character. If there is a mismatch, ultimately what happens is, a very good extrovert character landing in for police services. A person who uses hands and legs landing in foreign services, what happens there, correct? So India, Pakistan need to sign an agreement. What that person will say is, okay, close the door, you will sign it. Okay. So to say that, so what are the best services is, society's expectation is always IAS, that's true. But what matches your character, identify that will be the best services. So you'll not feel the pressure of the job. What's point is, moral values sometimes can also be against the professional ethics or ethical values. Okay. Now next one is ethics in public life. Ethics in public life. So this is the heading, ethics in public life. You know, Committee on Standards. Committee on Standards. Committee on Standards in public life, or Nolan Committee, or Nolan Committee. UK. So it's a UK committee which is applicable for every democracy. So Nolan Committee identified the ethical values. Identify the ethical values. Okay. Who is this famous personality? So the name Nolan, who's a famous personality? Huh? That's correct. Christopher Nolan. He's the famous personality, correct? And how many of you able to understand his movies? How many of you watched his movies? Most of you watched, correct? How many of you able to understand his movies? Why I'm asking is, for the first time, if you're watching, we can understand. Because he write a screenplay in such a way that you need to watch third time, fourth time, fifth time, correct? So a good movie is Inception is one such thing, correct? Why? My basic question is, can we take movies like that in India? Can Indian director take movies like that? Like Christopher Nolan, they can take a movies like that? So what a problem in that? Why we can't take movies like that in India, like Christopher Nolan? Budget, please understand, budget is not an issue because we have a big, you know that Reliance is funding Hollywood movies. Budget is there. Budget, it's not an issue. What may the other reasons why in India we can't make movies like Christopher Nolan? Huh? Lack of scientific knowledge. Okay, then any other thing? Huh? Okay. So, okay. So what's the reason for this is, if you ask any people, producer says that we can produce it, and director says that we can also write a script like that. But the problem is always with audience, correct? So when you say our audience, what the expectation of a movie is, what the expectation of the movie is. There is some standard formula is there. What is the standard formula of the movie is? Okay, first one is you should need to have introduction, correct? Hero, heroine introduction, villain introduction. Then we need to have a songs, correct? And that one song should be an item song also, correct? Okay. So someone will come and dance. Then what is the next thing is? Fight sequence. You should always have a fight sequence, correct? What about the quality of a hero? It's not a question at all, correct? Okay. So simple to say that right now in Tamil industry, which hero's fight sequence logically think of, it can't be done. But because movie will accept it, okay, it's movie will, okay. Okay, a good example is Dhanush, correct? Okay, Rajinikanth is also there. The classic example is Dhanush only, correct? With his physical stages and all, he can't beat even one guy. But you know that, okay, he go for extremes and do all the stuffs, correct? So Rajinikanth is also one such character. Then apart from this, what the next most important thing in movies is? Song and fights. Huh? And the most important aspect is sentiments, correct? So what sentiment works very well in India is, okay, one is mother sentiment. Apart from mother sentiment, sister sentiment, correct? Right now, daughter sentiment worked very well in Tamil Nadu, correct? So this is what the expectation is. And if you go beyond it, what happens? Go beyond it, flop. No one watches the movie, correct? So it's like Selvaragam movies, correct? Okay. So down. What are those ethical values is? So ethical values in public life. First one is selflessness. That is, selfless means to focus on public interest. Selflessness means to focus on public interest. Next thing is integrity. Second one is integrity. Third one, objectivity. That is decisions based on, objectivity means decisions based on analysis. Next, accountability. Next one is accountability. Answerability for actions. Accountability means answerability for actions. Next, openness. Next, honesty. If I'm fast, let me know it. Openness, honesty. And finally, leadership. And please understand, for all these value systems is applicable for public life. Public life means it may be a civil servant, it may be a politician, even if you're running an NGO, These value systems are important. And we say that UPSC conducts a personality test, correct? What you call as interviews. What they're going to test is, they're going to test all these value systems. As an individual, as a civil servant, whether you have these value systems. So what this honesty means? What this honesty is? So what the term honesty is? Very basic one. What the term honesty is? Huh? Truthfulness, correct? Honesty means, correct? How in UPSC they'll test this honesty? How in UPSC interview they test this honesty is? Huh? Okay, just use your common sense. Right now, if you're going for UPSC interview, how they test your honesty? Case studies is one. Apart from case studies, what may the other thing is? Huh? You can take an intelligent guess. Right now, how they test. Please understand, in UPSC interviews, the mark is not given for knowledge. It's already tested in your mains and prelims. What they're going to test is your value systems. What is this value system? These are some of the parameters. For example, they have given honesty. How they check the honesty is, right now in your DAP form, they have given some section called hobbies and all, correct? Hobbies and all. So what you want to do in filling the hobbies is, whether you have done it, then only you should climb there. Sometimes what we always try to do is, okay, we think that we are the smartest one. We can fool the board, correct? And we put some hobbies and think that, okay, we will answer. They will not know that I didn't do it. But within the second question itself, they know it. Okay, is that I narrated an incident of a friend putting gardening? No, correct? Our friend doesn't know what has put as hobby, correct? Some suggest put gardening. He said, I don't know, no issues, we'll work on it. Okay, he put gardening and went for the interview, and chairman began to ask first few questions and saw the gardening as a hobby. First, she asked one question where the friend able to give theoretical answers. What is gardening and all? And what the next thing the chairman did is, okay, we go for UPSC garden. From the interview board, the candidate was taken to a UPSC garden. And she put a chair there and began to ask question. What is this particular plant? How you want to plant it? When you want to water it? Then after third question, what our friend said is, ma'am, I don't know what is gardening means. My friend suggested I put gardening. Then she said, okay, let's go inside. That day he never got the services. Okay, that's what honesty is. Okay, so you should not think that you can easily fool the board. How many members will be there in the board? 5 members, correct? What will be the experiences? 30 years per member means what will be the experiences? If you calculate 150 years, correct? 150 years of experience is sitting there, correct? With 20 years of our age, we think that we are the smartest one. And we try to impress them. We need to go beyond them. And we can't fool them, correct? Honest. These are the value systems what they test in interview stages. Keep that in mind. It's not theoretical point of view. If you are able to reflect this in your interviews, you get the best marks. Objectivity is nothing but how you use your information for decision making. You should not be driven based on emotions, correct? I think we already discussed the example of Pakistan's chemical castration, correct? Is that in Pakistan they are going for chemical castration for rape? Is that that law? So right now in Pakistan a law is being passed for chemical castration. So what Pakistan government says is, someone is involved in a rape crime, they put an injection, chemical castration is done. Can you say why in India we can't do it? Why in India we cannot go for a law like that? If that's an interview question, can anyone say? Anyone have an idea? So one of the biggest problem in India is 20% of the cases are considered to be fake cases. Take example of dowry case, or take example of domestic violence. So there's a fight between husband and wife. What a wife will say is, come to police station, I know. Once they reach the police station, the case will be said in such a way that it's domestic violence. 20% error is there. If you create a law for chemical castration with 20% error, ultimately what happens? You put injection and then say, sorry, you are not the person. We wrongly put the injection, correct? And how many of you track a recent example, I think in Delhi or somewhere, a person was arrested for a rape charge, 20 years he was under trial, then they found out he was not. 20 years is gone. That is what in India board, correct? Another good example is how this cannot be applied is, What is the legal age for marriage in India? 21 for male, for female, what is the ages? 18 years, correct? So assume that in a couple by age of 17 went out of the family, and the male's age is around 20 or 21, correct? The girl is around 17. After a few months, they are being rescued by the family or taken by the family. What will be the case will be given as, because girl is 17 underage, what will be the case will be given? What are the case will be given? Minors, she can't say anything, correct? The family members is going to file a case. So what will be the case will be filed as? Abduction. Apart from abduction, POSCO, rape, correct? Though it's a consensual sex, but it will be filed as a rape. And we have a law for chemical castration. So it's not possible. It's called objectivity. So right now it seems to be theoretical. You can use these points in your answer writing, but once you go for interview stages, keep this is the boundary for which they give the marks. Okay. The next one is ethics and politics. Next heading is ethics and politics. So ethics and politics. So in that, first one is lack of ethics, ethics and politics. Lack of ethics. So can you list out what are the issues in political system? Very broader one. Around 4 to 5 areas where we have problem in our political system. Ethics is not there in political system. What are those broader areas? So can you identify those broader areas? Please understand, Indian politics is not that much good, correct? So what are the problems we have? What are the problems in our political system? What are the issues in our political system, correct? Huh? Politics means you can split into 3 areas. One is what is happening in legislative system, party system, what is happening, election, what is happening. So 3 areas you identify problems in our political system. So if you take parliament, what the biggest problem in parliamentary system is? Okay, very basic one is, for example, criminalization of politics. So that's the biggest problem in our system, correct? Very basic one. We'll list out the basic one, the focus areas, the reform areas. Okay, criminalization of politics. And apart from this, we can see that in legislative system, we have another problem like horse trading. What is horse trading is? So don't take literal meaning. Okay, what is horse trading means? So during voting process, we can see that money is being given so that MPs or MLAs will favor certain parties or ideas. That's called horse trading, correct? Horse trading is another biggest problem. To understand this horse trading, recently we can see certain states got into issue. Forming a government and all, you can see that MLAs are taken to other states, stayed in some big 5-star hotels and all. I don't know how many of you are able to remember it, correct? Karnataka is one such example, Maharashtra is one such example, correct? Horse trading was happening during the time. So horse trading is one. Next thing is muscle and money power. So muscle and money power in elections, correct? So what are the recent examples for this muscle and money power in elections? So what are the recent examples? Okay, muscle power. Which state is a good example for muscle power is? West Bengal. What recently happened in West Bengal? You came across this Nandigram. Nandigram is the constituency of the current Chief Minister of West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee. What happened? I think yesterday. So there's a great drama going there. Okay, she went to the certain booths and said that it's being not properly done, and both BJP and TMC workers were standing opposite of each other. Probably there may be some fight. Central Police Forces was there, correct? Assume that you are an IPS officer there. So what do you think is why I wrote this examination? Why I'm an IPS officer, that too in West Bengal, correct? So muscle power is the dominant one in West Bengal, and we can see that. Even we can see that 8 phases of elections. Is that, in West Bengal we have 8 phases of election. Now the major reason is because of muscle power. So what about Tamil Nadu? What about Tamil Nadu is money power, correct? And what recently we can see there is, how we can recently understand this is, you can see this IT raids are going on, correct? Okay, IT raids are going everywhere because money is being distributed and all those things, correct? So this is the biggest problem in our Indian elections, muscle power and money power. I'm just giving some certain areas, that's it. The next thing is lack of inner party democracy. So lack of inner party democracy, that is also another biggest problem in our political system, correct? And what the other thing happening is, what is social media in Tamil Nadu is very hyped social media in Tamil Nadu. Okay, last 2 days, what is happening in social media? I'm asking from election perspective. In election, what is happening? Okay, hashtag, what the hashtag is being done? One is go back Modi. Another thing is all the DMK candidates. You know what they're doing, all DMK candidates? Okay, Stalin. It's not that about Stalin. What DMK candidates are doing is putting a statement saying that, so please Prime Minister Modi, come to my constituency and campaign for my opponent so that I can easily win. So ultimately what they're saying to Prime Minister Modi is, if you want, come to my constituency, I'll win very surely, correct? So what the statement clearly indicates here is, okay, no one likes BJP and no one likes Modi, correct? If you are a Prime Minister, what do you think? If you are a Prime Minister, what do you think? Please understand, you are famous across India, famous across the world, correct? But what happens in Tamil Nadu is, if you come here means you will not win, correct? And that's also reality, correct? So what ADMK is purposefully doing, anyone have an idea? In all their campaigns and all, and giving some leaflets and all, what ADMK is purposefully doing? They are not using the picture of Prime Minister, is that you know? They are not using, they are using the picture of Prime Minister. Even BJP candidate is not using. Okay. So if you are a Prime Minister, you literally get irritated, correct? You think how popular I am, but in Tamil Nadu, even I'm not able to use the picture, correct? And please understand, this is the last time for Tamil Nadu people. So what is the last time for Tamil Nadu people is? Can anyone able to identify what I'm saying? This is the last time for, this is the last chance for Tamil Nadu people. For what is the last chance of Tamil Nadu people? Okay, what are the last chances? Giving a respect to BJP. Okay, they have done everything here. And at least what BJP expect is, they doesn't want to form a government here. At least what they expect is, at least one seat they need to win, correct? If that is not happening, what will happen in BJP then? So what BJP think is, so why we want to waste our time in Tamil Nadu, correct? Whatever we do, there is no votes. So how it reflects is, they are the union government. How it reflects is, whatever money we will give to Tamil Nadu, nothing is being translated. So why you want to focus on Tamil Nadu? So for union government, how many states are right now? We have 28. For them only 27. Okay. So let's see what happens. So the next thing is measures. Next heading, measures. Measures to enhance. Measures to enhance ethics. Measures to enhance ethics in politics. So in that first one is electoral reforms. First one is electoral reforms. So what are the electoral reforms done in India for enhancing ethics? For the last 10 years, 15 years, what strikes your mind? Electoral reforms. One is EVM mission, correct? One is EVM. Apart from EVM, we have a VVPAT, correct? Voters verification, paper audit trail. This is one such reform. So EVM mission is one. Then apart from this, any other thing? Postal ballot, any recent reforms? A lot of recent reforms are being done, correct? E-postal ballot. To whom this is being given as e-postal ballot? To whom is being given as? Overseas or please understand there are different terms. PIO is persons of Indian origin. Okay, but NRI, whose NRI means? Non-resident Indian. To whom it is being given e-postal ballot? Not army people, please understand, it's given for NRIs, non-resident Indian. Okay. Postal ballot is already existing for people involving in election duties. For example, it can be police officers or teachers. But e-postal ballots, especially for NRIs, non-resident Indians, recently being introduced. Then what are the other reforms in election process apart from this? Any other reforms apart from this? Huh? Okay, debarring convicts, correct. One next thing is that we put under the Supreme Court perspective. That is okay. Basic information. So you can put basic information about candidates. Basic information about candidates. So that is one. Then apart from this, any other thing, any other reforms in election process? Recently, there is one reform of election commission questioned a lot. Not election commission, but regarding elections, there is one reforms where Supreme Court is interfering and all. Is that you're able to remember this? Electoral bonds. So electoral bonds is one such area. Then similarly, we have this MCC. What is MCC's? Model Code of Conduct. This is Model Code of Conduct. So these are a few examples of electoral reforms. Which is the other biggest electoral reform proposed in India? That can be a mains question. Which is the biggest electoral reform is proposed in India, not being implemented, which is being proposed. Which can be a biggest landmark changes and can be a UPSC question also. Anyone able to identify it? Huh? What is EVOT? Oh, online vote. Okay, then any other thing apart from this? There is one biggest reform being proposed. Election Commission is speaking about it. Prime Minister is speaking about it. That's correct, correct? That is nothing but One India, One Election. Please go and check the merits and demerits of One India, One Election. This can be a mains question. So One India, One Election. Why need to be done? Okay. So one is electoral reforms. These are a few examples of electoral reforms. Next thing is constitutional amendments. Next thing is constitutional amendments. Next thing is constitutional amendments. So can you list out what are the constitutional amendments done to make clean politics? So anyone able to remember the constitutional amendment done to make clean politics is? That's correct. One is 10th schedule. First one is 10th schedule of Indian Constitution. 10th schedule, that is anti-defection. 10th schedule, anti-defection. And next thing is size of Council of Ministers. Size of Council of Ministers. So can anyone say what should be the size of Council of Ministers? Is any idea? Can we make everyone as a minister in India? No, correct? It's nothing but 15%. For example, if you take union government, 15% of MPs from which house? Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha? Lok Sabha, correct? 15% of MPs of Lok Sabha strength, that should be the maximum level. And please go and check, this can be a prelims question. For union governments, 15%, but state government, there are, it's not 15% only, but there are certain state governments which are very small states. They have given some numbers. What should be the maximum strength of a ministers? Okay, please check that for state level, for UPSC prelims perspective. But from our understanding perspective, the size of Council of Ministers 15%. Can we say why this came into picture? Why this came into picture? Why we want to have suddenly this 15% is a ceiling limit? In original constitution, we don't have it. But this was based on an amendment. Can you use your logical sense why suddenly constitution was amended to say that the maximum strength should be only 15%? It's nothing but the basic problem is coalition governments. How you can attract a person to your parties, how you attract a party to your coalitionists? By promising them, please come to our side, I'll give you ministerial position. Especially at state level, there are situations where 150 ministers was there, like states like UP and all. So 150 ministers means think about running a government. Who will be the next person happy with the size of the ministries? Who will be the next person happy with the size of the ministry? One is politician is very happy. Who will be the next one will be very happy for it? Not only opposite parties. Please understand, civil servants you will be very happy. Why as the civil servants you will be very happy is? That is 150 ministries means 150 secretaries, correct? So you will be also very happy. When now government says if you're increasing ministry means you will be saying yes for it. Okay. So size of council of ministers, these are the constitutional amendments. Two major constitutional amendments to make politics clean. Okay. And apart from this, Supreme Court verdict. Apart from this, Supreme Court verdict. So there are some important verdicts of Supreme Court regarding clean politics. So in that, first one is Lily Thomas case. First one is Lily Thomas case. Please check this in Google. What are this Lily Thomas cases? Lily Thomas case. Please check that. What is Lily Thomas cases? So what you identify is so this is regarding criminalization of politics, correct? So Lily Thomas case. So just go through it. What the law says, you just identify it. Huh? So disqualification, correct? So what the time period given in that thing is? This can also be prelim statement. Assume that I am an MP. I involved in a criminal offense. How this case impacts me is my crime is a heinous crime, or if I get a punishment of 2 years or above as a jail term, automatically what happens is my position as an MP is being disqualified. And what is Lily Thomas case is? As per judicial verdict, that is under Lily Thomas case, as per judicial verdict, any MPs or MLAs, any MP or MLA involving in heinous crime or given punishment of 2 years jail term, given punishment of 2 years jail term, will be disqualified immediately when judgments delivered. Disqualified immediately when judgments delivered. So my point is, what was the previous question is? What was the previous question regarding that aspects is? How judiciary works? Any idea how judiciary works? Is that judiciary works on the philosophy that until you are being proven, you are considered to be innocent. And what most of the time an MP or MLA does is, before this Lily Thomas case, what they'll do is assume that I'm an MP, I involved in a crime, and I was given a judgment of 3 years of jail. 90 days time is given for me. Within that 90 days, what I need to do is, I need to go for an appeal. Once an appeal is made, what the assumption of judiciary is? Once an appeal is made, what the assumption is? Innocent. I was exploiting that situations. But after Lily Thomas case, what court said is, if you are getting a punishment of 2 years of jail or above, or you're involved in a heinous crime, once a judgment is delivered, you need to disqualify immediately. You can make your appeal, it's not an issue, but automatically you get disqualified. Can you see who are the personalities paid heavy price for this judgment? So there are 2 or 3 personalities paid heavy price because of this judgment, correct? One is in Tamil Nadu, that is Jayalalitha, and in Bihar level, who was another politician, Bihar level paid a heavy price for it. Any idea? Lalu Prasad Yadav. So Lily Thomas case is one. And right, the next one is Supreme Court, next judgment, Supreme Court made mandatory made mandatory for political parties, made mandatory for political parties to furnish criminal informations, criminal informations about candidates in print, about candidates in print, electronic and social media. Print, electronic and social media. Next thing is committees and commissions. Committees and commissions. In that first one is Inderjit Gupta Committee. Inderjit Gupta Committee. So my basic question is, if a MP election is happening in India for every 5 years, can anyone say all the parties put together how much money they are spending? Approximate numbers. I'm asking about MP level. So MP level elections is happening for Lok Sabha every 5 years. All parties combined, how much money they are spending? Any approximate numbers? BJP, Congress, Communist, state parties, all combined. 1,000 crores. Okay. Or another question is, right now if you want to stand in MP election, what should be your expenditure? Legal, please understand, the legal limit is 70 lakhs. I'm not asking about legal limit. As per Election Commission, the maximum money you can spend is 70 lakhs. But what is the money actually you spend in elections? And please understand, this spending will not assure that you will win the elections. People know that there's a candidate. So what should be the money you need to spend for it? Any approximate values? 70 lakhs is the limit. Right now you are standing elections in Tamil Nadu MP. What would be the money you need to spend? Crores is correct. What are the minimum values? What is the minimum value? Any idea? So it's okay. 50 crores is very high. It is said that per elections you need to spend around 10 crores or something. Then only people know that you are a candidate. So where all this money goes? Where all your maximum expenditure goes? There are 3 maximum expenditures. What are the 3 maximum expenditures? One is, okay, whenever you go for a campaigning, you want to gather people, correct? If someone is coming for a campaigning, what will be the cost of it? Per day you need to give 500 rupees. And afternoon you need to give a biryani, correct? With a leg piece in it. Evening the most important thing. The most important thing is you need to provide a quota bottle. Okay, that's the expenditures. All parties combined together, they said that it spends around 6,000 to 7,000 crores. It's around $1 billion is spent every 5 years for elections in India. All parties put together. So what are the major source of money for all these parties then? Okay, what are the major source of money for all the parties? As a common man, we are not giving money, but what are the major source of money for the political parties? One, it can be black money or corporate funding, correct? So to avoid that, this committee came into picture. Inderjit Gupta Committee, right? Recommended state funding of elections. Recommended state funding of elections in kind. State funding of elections in kind. That is to provide diesel, communication devices for election campaign. Next, Dinesh Goswami Committee. So Dinesh Goswami committee recommended partial state funding of elections, and to establish national level regulator to monitor political parties, especially election funding. So what's your viewpoint? Can it be done in India? Creating a national level regulator to monitor parties. Can it be done in India? It's a recommendation, that's it. Can it be done in India? Please understand, always keep in mind, practically, whenever you create an initiative to question the political system, what the political system will do is, please understand, there is no difference between ruling party, opposition party and all. What they all do is, they combine hands, make sure that no one is questioning them, right? Yeah, great example for that thing is, what is a great example for that? You know this Lokpal? Primary objective of Lokpal is to control corruption, right? On whose time period Lokpal was created? Who was the power in that time Lokpal was created? That was the time of Congress, correct? What the biggest accusation or allegation against the Congress by BJP is? Black money corruption. But why they are not strengthening Lokpal? Why they never do it? Because they know that for people we can speak about all those corruption and all, but practically no one touch up all those areas. So what we can understand is anything questioning the political system. There is no differences between any parties. Okay. Next one is appointment of election commissioners. Next slide heading, appointment of election commissioners. Appointed by, who's the appointing authority? Right on, appointed by president, based on recommendation given by, who's the recommending authority? Prime Minister and Council of Ministers, based on recommendation given by Prime Minister and Council of Ministers. So this is the existing procedure. So what a problem here is, even sometimes this can be a political appointment. To understand that, once in India it happened, we have Chief Election Commissioner and Election Commissioner. That was the time of UPA, that is Congress. Naveen Chawla was appointed as Election Commissioner. And during the time, Chief Election Commissioner was Gopal Swami. Okay. My question is, as per Constitution, how Chief Election Commissioner can be removed? Similar to judges. How an election commissioner can be removed? This can be a prelims question. How election commissioner can be removed? Can take a guess. How election commissioner can be removed? Chief election commissioner is similar to judge. How election commissioner can be removed? Please understand, election commissioner can be removed by the president based on the recommendation given by Chief Election Commissioner. Chief Election Commissioner need to write a letter to the president saying that please remove this person. Once Naveen Chawla was appointed, Gopal Swami under suo motu. What does suo motu means? On his own, wrote a letter to the president asking to remove. Reason is, he was considered to be very close to Congress. This happened in India. Can you understand the point? So that can be a chance for political appointment in election commission also. Under second year's recommendation here. Second year's recommendation. Chief Election Commissioner, comma Election Commissioner, need to be appointed by the president based on the recommendations given by Prime Minister. So can anyone say who are the others who can be included so that it will not be a political appointment? So you need to include other personalities. Who are the other personalities can be included in that? So leader of opposition. And please understand, Prime Minister represents the majority party, leader of opposition is the next party. Then what about the others? Who can represent the others also? Very microscopic representation of certain parties. Who may be the best person? Theoretically, correct? Leader of opposition is the next largest party in the parliament, correct? Or in Lok Sabha. There will be certain parties with 1 or 2 representations. How their interests can be reflected? One is Prime Minister, leader of opposition. Who may be the next person to represent us? Next one is Speaker. Because Speaker is considered to be theoretically politically neutral, correct? So Speaker. Next, Rajya Sabha. Who may be the best person to represent Rajya Sabha? Not chairman. Chairman is vice president, correct? So deputy chairman Rajya Sabha. Finally, Chief Justice of India. So right now, who's the current Chief Justice? Or he's being appointed or proposed? Okay, proposed. So what's his name is? Not Aravind. What's the? Ramana, correct? What the issue against him? Okay, right now regarding the state of Andhra Pradesh, he belongs to Andhra Pradesh in the creation of Amaravati. So there are certain cases being put on it, and he's influencing the High Court to give the judgment in favor of Amaravati as a capital, correct? Right now he's the Chief Justice, correct? Think about the justice system. Okay. So what is the problem is, why this happens is because of collegium system. Please understand, you can use it all as an examples for your answer writing. Note it down, all these perspectives. Okay. And what is the best model to understand the appointment of judges? Just I am going out to give a hint. What is the best model to understand the appointment of judges? In India, it's not working well. So what is the best model? Please understand, whenever something happens to Indian democracy, which is not working perfectly, which country can be the country we need to study? We can replicate that idea here. Any future thing you study for constitutional aspects, something goes wrong in India, automatically go and check that country. In that country, what happens, we can replicate in India. Please understand, in UK model, go and check how judges are appointed in UK. That can be your answers for mains. Okay. Not related to this. I'm just giving a hint. You check UK's judges appointment, that you can write as an answer for India regarding collegium system. Okay. The next one is election petitions. Next thing is election petitions. Any grievances regarding election process. Any grievances regarding election process can be raised in judicial system, as, election petition. So this can be a prelims question. Right now regarding presidential election, where you can raise the election petition and who can raise the election petition? Presidential elections, any idea? Okay, not election commission. Right now, okay, for example, if there's a presidential election is over and there is some issues in the election process, where we can raise that issues? As per constitution, you can raise it only in Supreme Court. And who can raise the issue? That is also another prelims question. Is that the people who took part in voting process can raise the issue, or a candidate can raise an issue? Any idea? Please understand, all MPs and MLAs took part in elections. Is that they can put an election petition for presidential election, or the candidates can put an election petition, not the MPs and MLAs? Please understand, as per constitution, that can be raised in Supreme Court only by the candidates, not by the electoral college. So just check all these things. So election petitions, right now we know that in election process, if there is an issue, you can raise it in the court system, correct? What recently happened in West Bengal? Regarding election process, West Bengal, there is one biggest issue. Anyone have an idea? Regarding EVM machines? Anyone gone through the news article regarding EVM machines? Transportation of EVM machines, how need to be done? Transportation of EVM machines, how need to be done? It should be done on the election commission vehicle, correct? Or the vehicle which was escorted by the police. But in West Bengal, what happened is, okay, it was taken in BJP vehicle, correct? So right now that's an issue being raised. If you are a candidate, what the next thing you do is, your opposition candidate, what the next thing you do is, you file an election petition saying that I don't believe this election because EVM machines are in BJP's car, correct? What a logical conclusion if it is in BJP car means. Okay, so you know that mostly it will be fabricated, correct? That's the people's assumption. So we'll see that what happens. So what a problem in going for court system is, what a problem in going for court system. That's one biggest problem in the court system. What that problem is. When you file a case in court, what is the time taken to finish off a case is? That is around 15 years. What is the lifespan of an MP or MLA in India is? 5 years, correct? And I don't know how many of you have this track this information. I think 1 year before there was a judgment for regarding election petitions with the P. Chidambaram. I think it happened in 10-15 years before. Regarding declaring the winner in the constituency, there was issue between ADMK and P. Chidambaram. And P. Chidambaram was declared as winner. And that was an issue raised in the court system. Only by 2 years or 1 year before there was a judgment. But he finished 2 terms after it. Okay, then only we getting the judgment. That's a problem here. Write down the recommendations here for election petitions recommendation. First one is, second he has recommendations for election petitions. First one is to establish specialized tribunals. Establish specialized tribunals for entertaining cases regarding election petition. Next, the tribunals should consist of members from judiciary, election commission, to provide speedy justice. Okay, we'll stop with this. Okay, we take a break for 5 minutes, then we go for the remaining aspects. Next we go for ethics and ministers. Ethics and ministers. To understand this, so can I even say who's the richest minister in present day union government? Richest minister, Amit Shah, okay. Apart from Amit Shah, whom the other one is legally rich. Okay, he is the richest one, but legally who is the richest minister in a present day union government? Finance minister, no. Okay, not a finance minister. Anyone have an idea who's the richest minister? Prime minister, okay. Okay. So you know this minister with the name Nitin Gadkari. So okay, road transport minister, and he belongs to Maharashtra, and he have a lot of companies. So he is one of the richest minister. Okay. But if you go for Congress time, who's the richest minister during Congress time? Okay, except Manmohan Singh. Okay, everyone was the richest minister there, correct? So what's the ethics in minister is, Radon? It is mandatory. It is mandatory. Mandatory for the ministers. For the ministers to furnish their financial informations to the government every financial year. But the rule is violated. In Indian Federation. It's violated in Indian Federation. Another extreme is, can you say who's the richest chief minister in India? Richest chief minister. One is minister, we know. Richest chief ministers in India. Huh? Jayalalitha, not Jayalalitha is okay. Okay, one is Andhra Pradesh one. Then I'm saying legal sense. Okay, I think Chandrababu Naidu said that he got around 200 crores or something. Okay, and Jagan Mohan Reddy right now, correct? And in legal sense, everyone is rich only. Okay, even they say that Tamil Nadu ministers are equated with Asian richest persons, correct? So that is one. Your current government also very happy, correct? All ministers they say worth is around 1,000 crore. All ministers. Okay. So who's a minister without any big wealth? Is any idea? Yeah, this is all given from legal sense. Chief Minister one is Chandrababu Naidu, right now not the Chief Minister, Jagan Mohan Reddy. Who's the other extremist? I think there was a Chief Minister from Tirupura, belonged to Communist Party. Legally, he doesn't have any money at all. Okay, so that's the two extremes. Okay, so what are the points? Second year's recommendation. To establish. So the first point in ethics and ministers, it is mandatory for the ministers to provide financial informations to the government in given financial year, but the rule is violated in Indian Federation. Rule is violated in second year's recommendation. What is that point? Starting point is to establish code of conduct and code of ethics. Establish code of conduct and code of ethics for ministers to enhance ethical governance. Next, a special cell. Next point, a special cell or agency. A special cell or agency in PMO, special cell or agency in PMO or CMO need to be established for implementing code of ethics, implementing code of ethics and code of conduct. Code of ethics and code of conduct. So can anyone say which is the highest position in civil services? Once you get as a sub-collector, what are highest position for you is? Highest position in civil services for you. You start your career as a sub-collector, correct? But what are highest position for you? Not chief secretary for state level. I asking India level highest position as cabinet secretary, correct? Which is the most powerful position? Okay, cabinet secretary is the highest position, but which is the most powerful position if you are in civil services? So right now, if you are working in PMO, there's a position called principal secretary. That's the most powerful one. Okay. So if you want to really enjoy the power, you need to be working in PMO, Prime Minister's office, right? Very logical one. Which cadre offices will be right now dominating PMO? Which cadre? Because people are selected from different cadres, correct? Which cadre PMO people will be dominating is? That's correct. Gujarat cadre IAS officers are dominating PMO. Right now, one of the biggest problem for Gujarat state government is officers are not there in state because everyone is taken to central government. Not only say PMO, they are taken to central government. Okay. Right now, Gujarat cadre dominates. Traditionally, which cadre dominates in any idea? So please understand on what basis we choose the cadre. Right now, in mains application, on what basis we choose the cadre? What are the criteria? Not size of district and all. Right now, if you are going to fill your mains application, on what basis you are choosing the cadres? Please understand, it's entirely based on our personal convenience, correct? Or the personal convenience, we choose home cadre. Why we choose home cadre? Is that you want to make our home state better? No. What are the primary reason we are choosing a home cadres? So, primary reason is your lifestyle matches there, correct? Your family is there. Food is not a problem. Language is not a problem. This is the criteria on which we choose a home cadre, correct? Okay. So, and ultimately, we want to doesn't want to disturb our social life. So, we choose a home cadre. But in administrative wise, if you want to get into central government jobs and all, under deputation, which cadre is always advisable? Any idea? So, one they say about Agmat cadre. Apart from Agmat cadre, which is the other cadre have a great lobbying power. So right now, if you belong to that cadre, already a lot of seniors were working in union government, so that they easily pull you up and say that please come to my ministry, no issues. So which cadre will be? Logically think of where we have the largest strength of IAS officers, so that they say that traditionally UP cadre has a great lobbying power. UP cadre. Once you are in UP cadre, elevation to central government is very easy. And Prime Minister belong to which state? There will be easy chance of getting into union government. Apart from that, there are also chances, but probability is very high, correct? Logically, from which cadre getting into union government is very tough. Logically, which cadre getting into union level is very tough, is correct? Okay. Kerala is okay. Mostly if you are from Tamil Nadu, chances are very less, correct? But what cadre we always love is home state. Okay. So that's the reality there. Okay, the next point is third point. To have annual report, submitted to the legislatures, to have annual reports submitted to the legislatures regarding enforcement of code of ethics and conduct in Council of Ministers. Next thing is ethics and legislature. Ethics and legislature. And please understand, politician is very different, civil servant is very different. If you are in civil services, you cannot be a person working in corporate also. That you can't do it. But if you are a politician, you can do it. Okay, simple aspect to say that my logical question is, can Mukesh Ambani become an MP in India or not? Yes, he can become. He can become the Prime Minister also. Anywhere the rule says that once he became an MP, he need to sell the business. Literally no. He can do both the things. That is what Nitin Gadkari is doing. He is in a lot of, as a member of board of directors in certain companies. And he is a minister. These are two different concepts. Political class, that is acceptable. Next, you should not ask a question, can I be a district collector and also can I run a company? That is not acceptable. Because these two are jobs. Okay, so they say that you should not do that. But if you are a politician, you can do it. Huh? Inequality, correct? For that only right now next comes ethics and legislatures. You know, ethics and legislatures. Second year's recommendation. You know. It should be mandatory. It should be mandatory for MPs. Mandatory for MPs, comma MLAs to disclose their financial interest comma foreign relations to avoid foreign relations to avoid conflict of interest in public office. Avoid conflict of interest in public office. So to understand this, as I already said that Mukesh Ambani can be an MP. My very basic question is, if he is an MP, there are parliamentary committees. In which committee he should not be a member? Very logical one. Which committee he should not be a member? Because he has a business. Right now he is an MP. That's all recommendation right now. We are not practicing it. Keep in mind. What the recommendation says is, if you are an MP, disclose your financial interest, your foreign relations, so that as an MP, if you are doing some work, which should not come against your public job. Can anyone say Mukesh Ambani, which departmental committees in parliament he should not be a member? Trade and commerce. Apart from this, for example, finance, he should not be a member. What is the problem in that? What is the problem in it? Assume that Mukesh Ambani is a member of departmental committee on finance. What is the biggest problem in it? Not only corporate taxes, please understand what are the decisions of the government. In financial sphere, he get a first-hand knowledge. What he can do with that first-hand knowledge? Before people knows that he have the knowledge, what the next thing he can do is, so he can not only manipulate the market, he can make all his business decisions. Take an example, right now government is thinking that for next 5 years, they're going to spend 5 lakh crore for solar energy. It's a proposal that is being discussed in the committee. Mukesh Ambani, what he can do is, once he have the knowledge, okay, government is going to spend 5 lakh crores. What the next thing he does is, he asks his company to focus on solar energy. Okay, please focus on solar energy. Government is going to spend around 5 lakh crore. So at least if we get 1 lakh crore for us, that'd be well and good, correct? So create technology for all these things. Okay, that's a conflict of interest. For example, regarding MPs with foreign interest. To understand, he's not an MP right now. So can anyone say who's the finance minister of Britain? Who's the finance minister of Britain? Any idea? Who's the finance minister of Britain? Not Raghuram. Raghuram Rajan belongs to, who's the finance minister of Britain, I'm asking. Okay, just check that personality name. Just check who's the finance minister of Britain. It's an Indian, just check his name. That's correct. So, Rishi Sunak, correct? He's the finance minister of Britain. And how he's related to India is, He is the son-in-law of Infosys founder Narayana Murthy, correct? Assume that Narayana Murthy is the MP in India and he has a huge influence in Britain, correct? And he cannot be in a committee regarding foreign relations. And they say that probably he'll be the next Prime Minister of Britain. Okay, this personality. So there's a greater chance for him to become the next Prime Minister. Huh? How an Indian can be a Prime Minister, correct? Okay, he's not an Indian, he got the citizenship there. Okay. So how an Indian can be a Prime Minister of Britain? People not accept that, correct? So he got the permanent residence, all those there. And he's the son-in-law of Narayan Murthy and very influential person, right? So probably if your future becomes the Prime Minister of Britain, correct? So what India is right now doing is, Britain ruled us for 200 years. So what we are doing is, okay, 5 years is enough for India, correct? So this is what Shashi Tharoor said. Okay, I don't know how many of you gone through the debate in university in UK. There was a topic that Britain need to repay the money to India because the entire wealth of Britain is nothing but Indian money, correct? For that, Shashi Tharoor made a speech saying that we doesn't need the money. Ask them to say sorry for us. Okay. The reason is we are reconquering Britain. How we are reconquering Britain? So he gave it 2 years before the speech. That time what on board basis he said is a lot of big companies of Britain's are run by Indian, correct? Or Indian companies are taking over it. Good example, you know this Jaguar, Land Rover, all a Britain company, but it's under whose management is right now? It's Tata, correct? Right now we have the finance minister, probably the next prime minister, correct? So Indians are reconquering Britain again. So let's see what happens. Okay. So what's the point I want to say is, assume that if Narayan Murthy is made as an MP, he have a very good relationship with Britain, correct? All this information need to be given to the government, not and parliament, so that there should not be any conflict of interest. Then second point is parliamentary commissioners. Second point, parliamentary commissioners for standards. Parliamentary commissioner for standards need to be established. Similar to UK model. In Indian democracy. With the following objectives. First one is to create awareness, provide guidance to MPs, MLAs, provide guidance to MPs, MLAs regarding code of ethics and conduct. Second, to inquire the violation of code of ethics, code of ethics and conduct, and to submit the report to the speaker. Next, ethics and civil services. That first point is to inculcate public service values. To inculcate public service values such as efficiency, political neutrality, optimum use of public resources, civil service innovations. So can you give examples of civil service innovations? So civil service means we always relate with rules and regulations, correct? Where we can find civil service innovations? As a civil servant, you can innovate a lot. Where we can find it? Civil service innovations. Any idea? Any examples? Civil service innovations. Where you can find those examples for civil service innovations? Huh? Any good examples based on paper reading or something like that? Okay, just type this in Google. Huh? Mobile school, correct, in Jharkhand. Okay, to find the examples for these type of topics, just type this in Google. Better India civil servant. Just type this in Google. Better India civil servant. They update all the recent initiatives. Okay, recently a DC introduced 5 kg rice for 1 kg plastic. Great. Okay. So Better India civil servant. Just type this. You get a lot of examples what in India civil servants have done, innovative ideas. So you can use that as an example for GS ethics paper anywhere you want. Okay. So when you're free, just note it down, all these examples which you think is relevant. It's not that everything given there is you can write as an answer, but based on reading you get an idea. So where you can use the points, all these stuffs. Okay, that's called civil service innovations. And next thing is optimum use of resources, correct? So as a civil servant, you should be very cautious that you're using people's money, correct? What you should not do? What you should not do? So what you should not do? It's a people's money, what you should not do is, so not only personal aspect, you should not spend it for your luxurious lifestyle, correct? Another good example, check this in Google. I think Odisha IAS 70 lakhs. Just put that, you get in a news article. Odisha IAS 70 lakhs. I'm just giving keywords, but find the news article. Huh? For official residence, for renovation, she spent around 70 lakhs, correct? Before political neutrality, efficiency. You can put efficiency, correct? So this IAS officer in Odisha, she spent 70 lakhs for renovating her official home, correct? So all waste of money. So it's another thing. So you can use all this as an examples for your answer writing. I'm just giving a hint. Just note it down whenever you're free. Just go through it and think where you can use it as an answer writing. GS ethics, you can use it. And second point. To establish public service authority. Establish public service authority. To enforce, establish public service authority to enforce public service values. Public service values. Next thing is ethics and judicial system. So lack of ethics. So what are problems in our judicial system? What are biggest problems in judiciary? Very major ones. Okay, one is vacancy, correct? So vacancy is one. So vacancies, please understand when we say vacancy means we should not think from Supreme Court level. Where we have the largest vacancies for our judges is, one is Supreme Court is already filled, but what are other levels are? High Court, and apart from High Court, the lowest level is district level, where we have large number of vacancies. Vacancy is one. Apart from this, appointment is another biggest problem, correct? Appointment. Recent controversy, you can see it. Appointment process is not transparent. Appointment, no transparent. Sorry, no transparency. And apart from this, what with the other lack of ethics in our judicial system is corruption, delayed justice, corruption, delayed justice. Apart from this, another biggest problem in judiciary is uncle judges. Okay, so now translate in Tamil. Okay, so what does uncle judges means? So if you are a lawyer, when a person comes to you with a case, on what basis you entertain the cases, you will not say that based on the legal merit I am going to win the case. Or the next thing you always say is, my relative is a judge. So ultimately what happens? So you can write your own judgment, correct? That's called uncle judges. A good example for understanding this is not happened, but to understand the concept of uncle judges. So the law is there, but the point is, in judiciary we have a lot of process which can be exploited, correct? Assume that you are a judge, I know you, correct? What I say to my client is, please understand, I know my judge there. Okay, give the case to me, we will win the case. So we both will work in such a way that judgment is written in the favor of my client. Okay, within the laws only, but how to bypass the law, everything they know what, correct? A good example of understanding uncle judges not happened, just for understanding. So can anyone say who are the famous lawyers in Supreme Court right now? Famous lawyers. Huh? Lawyers, okay. Lawyers, okay, or you can take judges in Supreme Court. Can you remember some of the names of the judges in Supreme Court? Okay, existing judges, any idea? So I'm asking about judges, not lawyers. Any important judges in right now are Supreme Court is? Okay, Ramana is right now the Chief Justice. Apart from this, lawyer, Prashant Bhushan is a lawyer. Ashok Bhushan. Anyone came across this name, Rohinton Nariman? In judiciary, Rohinton Nariman. He's a judge right now. And please understand, his father is a famous lawyer, Falius Nariman. Can you understand the point? Father is a lawyer, son is a judge, Supreme Court judge. Please understand, they are not exercising these uncle judges. Can you understand the point? So similarly, there is a judge called Chandrajut. Okay, father household judge, correct? And his relatives are all lawyers. That's called uncle judges. Okay. So please understand, it's not being done at the law top level. Supreme Court never happens, but you can see that it happens at the lowest levels, correct? Assume that there's a husband and wife. Wife is a judge, husband is a lawyer. District level. Ultimately, what happens? He'll say that my wife is a judge. We will write the judgment, give the case to me, correct? Okay. Huh? So to understand what is uncle judges means. So right now this is the biggest problem. Okay. Start on the points. In 1997, right? In 1997, Supreme Court, 1997, Supreme Court passed an order, right, on open quotation, passed the order, open quotation, restatement of values, restatement of values in judicial life, restatement of values in judicial life, or code of conduct, or code of conduct. They are, so there are around 4 values. First one is the conduct and behavior, conduct and behavior of judges should enhance people's faith, enhance people's faith and trust in judiciary. So once there was an issue happening in judiciary, people lost the hope of judiciary. How many of you know this Justice Karnan issue? Anyone came across this issue, Justice Karnan? Justice Karnan issue is nothing but there was a fight between Justice Karnan and the rest of the judges. He was a Calcutta Chief Justice and he was a personality clash with Supreme Court judges. And what happened during the time was both the judges, one is Justice Karnan and Supreme Court judges, was issuing orders to arrest each other. Can you understand the point? Right now you are a police, what happens? You go and arrest him, he says go and arrest him, correct? Both are judges. There was a huge personality clash and entire India was laughing at judiciary. Because Justice Karnan was considered one of the biggest troublemaker in judiciary. Okay. And which state he belonged, any idea? Tamil Nadu, correct? So what happened is he was posted there as Supreme Court judge, High Court judge in Calcutta. And there was some issue. He have some comments over judiciary, saying that judiciary works based on caste system or something. And soon judges in Supreme Court got irritated. They issued an arrest warrant for him to be arrested from Calcutta High Court. And he gave an order to go and arrest the Supreme Court judges. And literally that time everything was happening. Government was very happy. Why government was very happy? Why government was very happy is, so they come to the people and say that is the reason we said that we should appoint the judges, correct? Because right now we see how they are fighting against each other. Okay, so for that's first point. So second one is, second one, judges should not take part. Judges should not take part in election except judicial bodies. But recently you can see that something is happening in judiciary which is not a good example. So Chief Justice of India are made right now as Rajya Sabha MP. What a problem in this method? What this point says is judicial members should not be actively involved in politics. They should not be involved. But recently you know that Ranjan Gogai is appointed as a Rajya Sabha MP. So what a problem in this particular example? So right now please understand, legally it's not wrong. What has been done legally or constitutionally it's not wrong. Only ethical grounds it's wrong, correct? So what happens right now is, if you are a judge in judiciary, what you can do is, you're going to retire as a Supreme Court judge. So what you can do is, already there's an example, one judge became an MP. So what you will do is, so you always think, okay, post-retirement, I also want to become an MP. So what you try to do is, so you have to appease the government, correct? And can anyone say what percentage of cases in Supreme Court is against the government? Around 50% of cases in Supreme Court is against the government. So what judgments you always try to write is favoring the government. This is a bad example right now in India. Okay, people from judiciary became an MP, not only MP, even someone are made as a governor. Who's a good example for it? Who's made as a governor? Sadasivam, correct? So these are a few bad examples in India. And third one, judges should not entertain cases regarding family members, friends, relatives. Last one. Last point. Judges should not give media briefing. Judges should not give media briefing regarding political issues or judgments to be delivered. to be delivered. So to understand this, just type this. I'm just all giving an example. You need to think where you want to write. Markandeya Kajju. Type this in your Google. Markandeya Kajju. He was a retired judge, and judicial judgments he began to criticize them in media. That was not liked by judiciary. Markandeya Kajju. If you're free, just check his news articles. Even Supreme Court criticized him, asked him to appear in front of the court, contempt of court, all this happened. Okay, Markandeya Kajju. When you're free, just check it. Now next point. To appoint the senior most judge in Supreme Court as judicial value commissioner. To enforce code of conduct. Next, second point, he or she, that is judicial value commissioner, need to be empowered to inquire the violation of code of conduct and to submit the report to Chief Justice of India. So the third point I said is in okay, I'll repeat the point for online candidates. Judges should not entertain cases regarding family members, friends and relatives. Okay, just quickly go through what is ethical governance right from the first. Just go through it. What does ethical governance means? The second point, judiciary. Okay, judges should not take part in any election process except judicial bodies. The next topic is citizen charter, a very small topic. Next we go for citizen charter. So to understand what is the citizen charter is, so right now going for a government department or any government institutions, can you say with surety, I'll do the work within this time frame? Can you say like that? Assume that you want to get a driving license. Can you say within one hour I'll get the driving license? Or within 2 hours I'll finish off this work? Can we say anything in government departments like that? One of the biggest problem in government department is you doesn't know when the work will be done, right? But what is the time of the work is? It may be 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but you doesn't know when will happen. And most of the time when you go for government departments or any government work, whether you take a leave or permission, if you are in school or colleges or you are working somewhere, whether you take a leave for entire day or you take permission, most of the time on safer zone we always take leave for the entire day, correct? Because we don't know when the work will be done. But think about the private institutions like banks or any private banks or anything. So with a surety we can say that this is the time we'll finish off the work, correct? Okay. Take example of visiting a government hospital and any private hospitals. Okay. So you can see that government hospitals, no one, how many have chance of going for government hospitals? Not for treatment, for general purpose. So what's your feeling after visiting government hospital? Government hospital means, please understand, I'm not saying that primary health centers. It's not primary health centers. Big government hospitals, correct? Okay. So what be your feeling is once you visit there? If you feel that, huh? Okay, what you feel it, even after death, you should not go there. That'll be your feeling. Because they will never respect the people, correct? And people life will be there within few minutes or few hours they're going to die, but no one respect that. And okay, most of you don't have the exposures. Okay, if someone met with an accident, died, they'll go for government hospital for mortuary and all. Once you go and come back, that will be there in your life for rest, or at least 15 to 20 years you have that impact. So government hospitals are the very worst one, correct? Experience are very worst. And if you ask anyone, no one gives the perfect informations. And on what basis everything works there, any idea? What basis everything works there? Okay. Please understand, everything is based on money. But you can't go and speak any rational ideas and all, correct? And you know that what is fundamental rights and all this, nothing will work there. Okay, you speak, stand and speak, I'll go, correct? That is what people behave there. So what is this citizen charter means, read on? What is citizen charter means? The promises, citizen charter means the promises made by, I'll say it later, what are things you missed? The promises made by public service organizations. Promises made by public service organizations regarding standard of services, to citizen customers. Next, objectives of citizen charter. Next thing is objectives. First point is to protect consumer rights. Second, to enhance accountability and transparency in public services. Third, to encourage innovative public services. And please understand, when you take innovation means, you can see private players are always focusing on innovation, correct? But if you take government systems, they never encourage it. A good example of private players focusing on innovation is Zogo is one. Another good example, even take our thing what we use in normal life. Take Amazon. Please understand, Amazon is not a company which sells you anything. Amazon is an innovative company. How Amazon is an innovative company is, for last 10 years, go and check what are new products given by Amazon to us, correct? Apart from the website, what are other things they are giving to us in our life is, every time they are innovating a lot. What are other things they are giving is Amazon, any idea? Okay, Alexa is one right now. Alexa is there to assist us. Then apart from this, the book, the Kindle, I think so, to read, correct? So it's an innovative company, correct? Google is an innovative company. Can anyone say what the next innovation Google is focusing on, any idea? Quantum computing is one. Apart from this, is that Google is working on AI and health. What innovation they are saying is Google is developing some algorithms and all. Once they scan your eyes, okay, cataract, once they scan your eyes, they say that after 10 years, what will be the disease you're going to get. So they are developing some algorithms like that. Okay, by scanning your eyes, they'll say it. Based on your lifestyle, what do you think? So it creates all the big data, correct? Everything you search in Google only, correct? With that data, with your iris scan and with your DNA profiling and all this stuff, your heredity, all these things, they map it and say that, okay, probably you'll have this type of diseases. All it is being done. Specialized medicine. Is that, you know, this Angelina Jolie? She got a breast cancer, correct? And she didn't actually got it. Based on this AI and all, they found out that there is a 80% chance that she'll get it. So that's the level of medicine they're going, all preventive ones. Google is working on it. Probably in future, when there's a Google phone or something, you just see that, they know, okay, whether he's a potential customer for another 10 years, 15 years. They sell all the data to all the pharmaceutical companies. Okay, so they're working on it. So that's innovation, correct? What about the government departments? Is that they think about anything like that? Still we are using only paper format, correct? Okay, corruption, they'll be innovative, correct? The next factor is what the next objective is. Next objective is to enhance people's participation. So enhance people's participation in governance and public service delivery. Enhance people's participation in governance and public service delivery. Next, challenges. So the challenges here is, okay, as a common man, we are not aware, correct? Can anyone came across this term citizen charter? Any government offices or buildings, anywhere you came across this term citizen charter? In UPSC, website is there, online mode is there. Apart from this, physically, if you have gone through any government departments, anywhere you saw citizen charter, please, why I'm asking is, they will not encourage it. Government office will not encourage it. Please understand, in every bank and post offices, we have citizen charter. But the problem is, it not be in visible place. It will be put into some remote corner. You need to consciously go and check their citizen charter. Why government is doing it? Very logical one. Why government is doing it? If you are an officer responsible for a bank, first thing you say is, remove this board, put it somewhere. Why you want to do it? Why you want to do it? Okay, because no one want to be questioned and people should not be aware of it. And the first point is lack of people awareness. Lack of people awareness regarding citizen charter. Second challenge. Citizen charter is considered additional work. Consider additional work for public officials. Next, third. So lack of fund and training. Lack of funds and training for implementing citizen charter. Last one. Lack of database regarding best practices. Lack of database regarding best practices in implementing citizen charter. So these are some of the challenges. Implementing citizen charter. Okay, just quickly go through what are things we discussed in the entire governance classes. Okay, I missed the word sentence. Pass an order. That is open quotation, restatement of values. So restatement of values in public life. So restatement of values in judicial life. Sorry. Restatement of values in judicial life or code of conduct. And please understand, this is a mains topic and you doesn't need to put a lot of effort for the next 2 months on this topic, because what you study for polity, that overlaps for mains aspect of governance. Okay, So after June 27, you can focus on this particular topic of governance. Until then, my personal opinion is not to study anything in this. It's more about mains angle, correct? But when you study anything for your prelims polity, have an idea that this overlaps with governance, especially in mains angle. Okay, just quickly go through any clarification. Online candidates, any clarification? It can be questioned. It can't be done. It's nothing but a promise, that's it. We are going to do all these stuffs. Still, how many classes we have in governance? This is the last class. Okay. so whatever the first point in challenge of citizen charter, lack of awareness. Okay. Fourth point is answer writing. My suggestion is we can do it after June only, correct? After finishing of your prelims only, we can go for answer writing. Second point in electoral reforms. Okay. But the fourth point in restatement of values is judges should not provide media briefing regarding judgments to be delivered or political issues. Okay. After prelims, we don't have any sessions. After prelims, probably for mainstreaming, there'll be orientation for the topic. That will be there. So disclosure of interest should be mandatory. Okay, it should be mandatory for political class or mandatory for legislatures to disclose their financial interest and foreign relations. So objective of citizen charter to protect consumer rights, accountability and transparency in public services, innovative public services, to enhance people's participation in public services. Enhances people's participation. So any other clarifications or any doubts? You just go through here. Any clarifications or doubts? So study material, I already said in the first class itself, probably in institute they have given the material, go through it, and after prelims, along with the class notes, and I said there's a book called From Government to Governance, Kuldeep Mathur. That book after June you can have it. From Government to Governance. Second ARC, what I gave as a point is enough. And another point is, whenever you want to study second ARC, keep in mind what the biggest constraint in that thing is. Because one is, every report is 200 pages, we can't read all the reports. And even if you go for summary of recommendation, in UPSC, what is the maximum mark in GSS? What is the maximum mark for a question in GSS? 15 marks, correct? 3 sides you want to write. So that's the space limit is there. So whatever you study, you think always from the space limit. Don't study too many informations which you cannot convert as an answers. Not only for governance, even if you study anything, please understand for UPSC examination, maximum you can write 3 sides. So keep that as a factor in preparations. So while writing an answer in a case, we just support the government or even though administration is against it, sir. Please understand, whenever you write an answer, you need to write from administrative angle. It doesn't mean that you need to support the government. Even sometimes government can also be wrong. So don't think that every time you need to support the government. Something is wrong, you can write it as wrong, no issues. Even sometimes court can also make some wrong judgments, correct? Any good examples for that? No institution is perfect, that's what I'm saying. Even court can make some wrong judgments. Okay, it's not that everything is perfect. What a good example for it? A recent example where court can have a judgment, but from common sense you know that it's a very wrong judgment. Anyone have an idea? So recently in, I think, Bombay High Court, There's a judgments regarding this prevention of sexual crime against children, where a judge gave a verdict saying that until there's a physical contact, it's not sexual crime, correct? And the worst part is that was given by a women judge. Okay, even judiciary can make wrong. That's the point. So no, nothing is perfect. So, okay. So online candidates, can we wind up the session? So if you put yes, model answer for a question, no sir. Okay, thank you. So I think already I have given some few questions in your classes, correct? Initial class I gave some questions. If you are interested, you can write the answers on my mail ID is so arankumar.d@shankaras.in. This is my mail ID. Okay, if you have time, you can write the answers to me because someone is asking to give an answers. I have given the question, just write the questions and send to me. I'll give a feedback for your answers. Okay, that will be the best thing. So online candidates, any other clarifications? So can we wind up the session? Okay, I'll just share some sample answers. Put a mail to me. This is my mail ID. Just put a mail. What's your requirement? I'll share it. No issues. Please understand, I already said that this topic is for mains. Nowhere it's required for reading prelims. I think you're wasting your time on it. Don't do it. Okay, thank you. Okay, then thank you. Any other queries, you can put this to my mail ID. I just check it and get you back. Okay, thank you.